Nosferatu is a horror fantasy film directed by F.W. Murnau and is an adaptation of the Dracula story. Vampire Count Orlok expresses interest in a new residence and real estate agent Herder's wife. I watched the newest adaptation of Nosferatu last year and I thought that movie was absolutely incredible from the way it was shot, from the storytelling and the writing, from the character work, from the horror aesthetic. Everything about that adaptation of this Dracula story was absolutely beautiful. But I never got around to watching the original Nosferatu, and after watching the new one that came out last year, which I highly recommend, go check out my review if you haven't. I highly recommend the film and praise it so much, honestly. I wanted to get a chance to watch what the original Nosferatu film was. I have the Bela Lugosi Dracula film that I've seen a couple times, but I want to see what this version of Dracula was like. And watching it for the first time not too long ago and collecting my overall thoughts, I think it's great. I think it's a really good adaptation of the Dracula story, and I think the way it was able to feel different in many ways I think it is a good adaptation of the Dracula story that understands its appeal and why it works so well, and it was still able to change things up enough to make it feel like its own, like how Orlok is his own character in a way. And while a lot of the same rules applies to Dracula apply to Nosferatu here, I feel like some of the story elements here worked in a very unique way when compared to Dracula. But judging this film on its own, I think it's still a really well put together film, especially for its time. It's a silent film, you only hear music and you get text for the dialogue of what people are saying. Audio wasn't created yet, so we just have visual imagery to really focus on, and the music creates all the atmosphere. And the music in this movie was stellar. There's a very melancholy feel to the music that goes throughout the entire film that creates a sense of peril, dread, and sadness and tragedy when it comes to the main couple that we're focused on. When this real estate agent had to go to Nosferatu's house and his castle, Transylvania, we are unnerved whenever he's around Count Orlok. We don't know what's going to happen. Count Orlok is a very weird looking person when compared to the rest of the people we've seen before, and he's always carrying a sense of authority no matter what the situation is, whether he needs to put up that authority figure on him or not. He's always on top of things and is always 2 steps ahead of the characters. And we are always in fear as to what his next course of action is going to be. And once his dark influence spreads even further than Transylvania itself and starts roaming the streets in which our main characters live in, we're trying to do whatever we can to try and find this guy, trying to figure out how to stop him. And once the tragic reveal as to how we're able to stop him comes about, we're just sit frozen again in fear, knowing what's going to happen now, but knowing that there is no other way around how to stop this guy without something bad happening to one of our main characters. And the film does a really good job at having us really get attached to this couple that we follow throughout. We understand their love for one another, especially through the letters our husband character sends to his girl. And I really like how the emotional core of the film was still able to feel very prevalent all throughout its runtime. You care whenever these characters are on screen together, and even when they can't see each other, you understand and feel the love and passion they have for one another. And I think the way the film was paced out was able to really flesh this relationship out very well, while still being able to showcase the horror of what Count Orlok is doing to our main characters. As for the horror elements of the film, this isn't just like a typical Dracula sucking blood action kind of thing going on. It's a lot more slow pace, more of a slow burn, taking its time. We're witnessing the little steps that Count Orlok is doing. The kills that he does is for a purpose, and we linger on what Nosferatu is going to do next for a good amount of time. There's a lot of long takes in this film, and some of these long takes were very impressive, especially for its time. Some beautiful wide shots of the sets, of boats, of very rundown locations of Transylvania itself. This was a beautiful looking movie that still looks really good. And Count Orlok himself was absolutely terrifying. Not only is his makeup so unnerving to look at, but the way he carries himself in the scene, his mannerisms, his sense of authority, as I said before. You just feel like you don't want to be anywhere near this guy, or if you are forced to be near him, you don't want to be in his bad side. You want to please him the best you can in order to hopefully find a way out of the room away from him. So you are always on edge whenever he's on screen, or whenever a fanboy of his who is very much looking for Nosferatu as his servant, you're worried about what his deal is and why he is so passionate as to Nosferatu's goal and hoping that he will succeed in what he's doing. This guy, there's a big sense of mystery behind him. But I like how, despite getting a few answers as to how we're able to stop him, we don't really know what he is apart from the basics that we already know from the beginning and what his plan is. We don't understand his motivations. We don't understand what is really driving him in a way, like what is his backstory. We just know what he wants, what he's willing to do to get what he wants, and you just feel terrified whenever you're around this character. All in all, I really loved the 1922 version of Nosferatu. It's one of those horror staples that influenced so many horror films, especially vampire flicks that we have today. A lot of the rules established by the Dracula story were very much prevalent here, and I think the way he was able to adapt this story and feel different in some other ways from it was really well done. It was well acted, the production design and sets were great, the makeup effects were fantastic, the music was haunting and melancholy. I absolutely recommend you guys go check out Nosferatu, and I'm gonna give it an A+. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.